Welcome back to the Legal Brief, the show where we crush the various legal myths and misinformation surrounding various areas of the gun world. I'm your host, Adam Kraut, and today we're talking about how gunsmiths might not have to pay huge fees to the government anymore.
The new Bloodline series of AR-15 barrels from Roscoe Manufacturing combines their years of industry experience making barrels for OEM use and brings that straight to you, the consumer. Using high-quality materials and coatings, they make sure that the products they make hold up to hard use. Available now in 5.56 NATO, 300 Blackout, and soon in 9mm, they have the barrel to complete your custom build the right way. To get 10% off your barrel, use the code TGC10 at RoscoeManufacturing.com.
Are you concerned about the NRA and the direction it's heading? Want to ensure someone who represents your interests sits on the NRA board of directors? If you're a life member, an annual member of the past 5 years, or know someone who is, hurry on over to adamkraut.com to get a petition to place me on the ballot for the NRA Board of Directors in 2018. Time's running out, so act fast. Guys, I know you really want to hear about the SHARE Act, and we'll dig into that next week, so be sure to subscribe to see that video. Now, today's topic. Earlier in September, the Defense Trade Advisory Group, or DTAG, held a public meeting with the Department of State where a variety of topics were to be discussed. DTAG, for those that don't know, is comprised of a number of members of the defense industry, including names you probably recognize, like Northrop Grumman, Lockheed Martin, and the Boeing Company. It also has members from the firearms industry, like Knights Armament, Vista Outdoors, the NSSF, and the Fair Trade Group. And no, we're not talking about coffee. DTAG advises the department on policies, regulations, and technical issues affecting defense trade. The topics to be discussed included one-form electronic filing and recommendations for making electronic filing more cost-effective and efficient for industry. And no, guys, we're not talking about ATF e-forms. These are different. 2, identifying key areas of concern with the proposed definition for defense services, which were previously published in the Federal Register. 3, provide feedback to accurately and effectively define manufacturing and distinguish it from other related activities like assembly, integration, installation, and various services. 4, discuss the current rules regarding the release of technical data to foreign dual nationals and identify alternative options which sufficiently facilitates risk assessment and risk mitigation. And 5, provide an assessment including a cost-benefit analysis of DDTC standardizing the expiration date for all new agreements to a fixed 10-year period from the date of initial approval. As firearms owners, the topic that we'll be most interested in is going to be the definition of manufacturing, as well as some of the remarks made by DDTC at the meeting itself. You may remember DDTC's July 2016 letter, which issued guidance to who would have to register under ITAR, and the big stir about the implication that gunsmiths would now have to register as well. For those of you unfamiliar with ITAR and what it is, click the link down in the description to see the video we did on that. The definition of manufacturing is an important one to define and one that has broad-ranging implications as the industries covered under ITAR are very wide-ranging, everything from the firearms industry to airplanes and missiles. The guidance stated that ITAR registration was required for gunsmiths who machined or cut firearms, such as the threading of muzzles or muzzle brake installation which required machining. At a hefty $2,250 a year to register, ignoring all the other things that go along with ITAR, it's easy to see why this would be problematic for most small businesses. However, DDTC did bring some good news to the meeting. While the bill that was previously introduced that would have moved a variety of items that are currently on the United States Munitions List, or USML, to the Department of Commerce did not pass, it appears DDTC is taking steps internally to alleviate the problem. Brian Nilsson, the Deputy Assistant Secretary for the Defense Trade Controls, reported that there's been movement in the rewriting of categories 1, 2, and 3 of the USML. Those categories include firearms, close assault weapons and combat shotguns, guns and armament, and ammunition or ordnance. It appears that they hope to publish the proposed changes within the next year. However, there is a bit of a holdup. In order to successfully move them off the USML, the Department of Commerce needs to publish a rule accepting them into the Export Administration Regulations, or EAR. The issue really comes from the executive order issued by President Trump, which requires an agency to identify 2 regulations to repeal for each one it wishes to implement. Since the Department of Commerce does not fall under the Foreign Affairs exemption, the timeline for this to become a reality may be slowed down while they identify those 2 regulations to remove. While nothing has happened yet, it appears that this administration is working to revise ITAR. For members of the firearms industry, this is a big deal and will be beneficial to everyone. There's no reason that a gunsmith should be required to register and comply with ITAR to simply thread a muzzle. It would also allow companies to more easily export their products around the world. So, to recap, DDTC is working on revising the ITAR regulations, which will help the gun industry and a number of other areas as well. Gunsmiths having to pay hefty fees, register, and comply with ITAR may no longer be a problem if this goes through as planned. Fortunately for us, we don't have to wait for Congress to take action, but rather an agency which appears to be taking initiative to get it done. As always, time will tell, so be sure to keep your eyes on the Federal Register to voice your support for the proposed changes when the time comes. Did you like this video? Make sure to share it with your friends. Don't forget to hit that like button, and if you haven't subscribed already, you better make that happen. Be sure to ring that bell so you don't miss an episode. Check out my website, adamkraut.com, and as always, thanks for watching.
The shirts worn in today's episode of The Legal Brief have been provided by Patriot Patch. Click the link in the description to learn more.